Imagine this. One day you're a simple kindergarten teacher scraping by, and the next, you inherit $26 million from your loving grandparents. But when your own parents demand you hand it over and you refuse, all hell breaks loose. They kick you out, leaving you homeless overnight. Stick around to hear how I turned the tables in the most satisfying way. Hi, I'm Natalie, 27 years old, and until about 6 weeks ago, my life was pretty ordinary. I worked as a kindergarten teacher, loving every minute with those little kids, but money was always tight. I lived in a tiny apartment, counting pennies for rent and groceries. My parents? They were around, but not really involved. They had their own lives, busy with work and whatever else, and they never seemed to have much time for me growing up. That's where my grandparents came in. They were like my real parents. Grandpa was a successful businessman who built a huge fortune through smart investments in real estate and stocks. Grandma was the heart of the home, always baking cookies and telling stories. They raised me more than anyone else. I'd spend weekends at their big house, playing in the garden, learning life lessons from Grandpa about hard work and kindness. He always said, "Natalie, money is just a tool. Use it to build something good, not to chase after people who don't care." As I got older, our bond only grew stronger. Even in college, they'd help with tuition when my parents wouldn't. They visited me at my apartment, bringing home-cooked meals and encouragement. But my parents? They rarely checked in on them, even when Grandma got sick a few years back. It was me who drove them to doctor's appointments, helped with meds, and sat by their bedsides. Grandpa passed first from a heart attack, and Grandma followed soon after, her heart broken without him. Their deaths hit me hard. I was devastated, crying for days. But little did I know, they had planned something huge for me. The will reading was set for a week after the funeral. My family showed up, parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, people I hadn't seen in years. The lawyers started reading, and that's when everything changed. Grandpa and Grandma left almost everything to me: the house, investments, cash, totaling $26 million. There were small gifts for others, like $50,000 each to my parents, but the bulk was mine. They wrote a letter saying I was the one who truly cared, and they trusted me to use it wisely. The room went silent, then exploded. My parents' faces turned red. "This can't be right," Mom shouted. Dad demanded a recount or something. But it was clear, I was now a millionaire. At first, I was in shock, grateful but overwhelmed. What would I do with all that? Build a better life, maybe start a foundation for kids, honor their memory. But my family had other ideas. That night, the demand started. Phone calls, texts, "You have to share this, Natalie. It's family money." I tried to explain it was their wish, but they wouldn't listen. Over the next days, things escalated. My parents showed up at my apartment, saying I owed them for raising me. "We sacrificed so much," Dad said. Mom cried fake tears, talking about how unfair it was. They wanted half, at least. I refused politely at first. "No, this is for me to manage as they wanted." But they kept pushing, bringing in relatives to pressure me. Aunts calling me selfish, cousins hinting I'd regret it. I felt cornered, but I stood firm. Grandpa taught me to stand up for what's right. Then, the bomb dropped. My parents, who owned the apartment building where I lived, yeah, they were landlords but never cut me a break on rent, gave me an eviction notice. "If you won't share, you're out," they said. Just like that, homeless. I packed my bags, tears streaming, wondering how family could be so cruel. But I had the key to grandparents' house. I moved in there, alone in that big place, echoes of their laughter everywhere. I cried myself to sleep, but deep down, I knew this wasn't over. They were coming for more. Waking up in my grandparents' house felt surreal at first. The familiar smell of Grandma's lavender soap, Grandpa's old books lining the shelves, it was comforting, but lonely. I spent those first days sorting through their things, finding old photos and letters that made me smile through the tears. But outside, the storm was brewing. My phone buzzed non-stop with messages from family. "We're coming over to talk sense into you." I knew talk meant demand. Sure enough, a few days later, they all showed up: parents, aunts, uncles, even some cousins I'd barely spoken to in years. They banged on the door like they owned the place. I let them in, trying to stay calm. "This house is mine now," I said firmly. But they ignored that. Dad started right away. "Natalie, you can't keep all this. It's not fair. We raised you, fed you, and now you're hoarding millions?" Mom chimed in, "Think of your siblings." "Wait, I don't have siblings, but cousins, I guess. They need help too." They sat me down in the living room, pulling out papers. It was a family agreement they'd drawn up, saying I'd split the money equally. "Sign this, and we'll all be happy," an aunt said. I read it. It basically gave them control over half the estate. "No way. I'm not signing anything," I told them. Grandparents left it to me for a reason. They saw how I cared for them when no one else did. That set them off. Shouting, accusations, "You're greedy. Ungrateful brat." One uncle even said, "We'll contest the will. You manipulated them in their old age." I felt my heart racing, but I remembered Grandpa's words, "Stand tall, kiddo." So I did. "Contest if you want," but the lawyer said it's ironclad. They had witnesses, mental health checks, everything. They stormed out, threatening lawsuits, but I could see the cracks. Some cousins looked uncomfortable, like they knew this was wrong. After they left, I called the lawyer for advice. He suggested changing locks, getting security, and documenting everything. Smart move, because the harassment didn't stop. Anonymous calls at night, people driving by slowly. My parents even spread rumors in our small town: Natalie's stolen the family fortune. Friends started distancing themselves, unsure what to believe. It hurt, but it also opened my eyes. Money really does show people's true colors. I decided not to hide. Instead, I started planning how to use the inheritance. First, I paid off my student loans, freedom. Then, I thought about the kids at my school. Many came from poor families, hungry or without supplies. What if I started a fund for them? Or built a community center in grandparents' name? Ideas flowed, making me excited for the first time since their death. But family wasn't done. A week later, I got a letter from their lawyer. They were suing to contest the will, claiming undue influence. My heart sank. Court? That could drag on for years, draining money and energy. The lawyer assured me we'd win, but it would be ugly. "Prepare for mudslinging," he said. Sure enough, they accused me of everything, from forgery to elder abuse. Lies, all of it, but it stung. Through it all, I found unexpected support. Old neighbors of grandparents stopped by with casseroles and stories. "Your grandpa always said you'd do great things," one said. Even some distant relatives reached out, saying they were ashamed of the family's behavior. It warmed my heart, reminding me I wasn't alone. As the lawsuit loomed, I dug deeper into the estate. Grandpa had hidden gems, not just money, but trusts and properties I didn't know about. One was a vacation home by the lake, perfect for retreats. I visited it, feeling peace for the first time. Sitting by the water, I journaled my thoughts. "Grandma, Grandpa, guide me through this mess." It felt like they were listening. Meanwhile, work kept me grounded. The kids' innocent smiles reminded me why I teach. One day, a little girl hugged me. "Miss Natalie, you're the best." That fueled me to fight harder. I wasn't just defending money, I was protecting their legacy. The lawsuit kicked off with a bang. We had the first hearing, and my family's lawyer painted me as a scheming gold digger. Natalie isolated the elderly couple, turning them against their own children, he claimed. My parents sat there nodding, looking all innocent. But our side fired back with evidence: medical records showing grandparents were sharp till the end, witness statements from friends about how little my parents visited. The judge seemed skeptical of their claims, but it was stressful. Court costs piled up, even though I could afford it now. Nights were sleepless, worrying about what lies they'd spew next. Then, a twist, during discovery, we found emails from my dad to uncles, plotting how to get our share before the will was even read. It showed their greed plain as day. Our lawyer used it to weaken their case. But they didn't back down. Mom called me crying, "How can you do this to us? We're family." I almost felt bad, but remembered the eviction. "You did this to yourselves," I said. Hung up. Blocked their numbers after that. With time on my hands, I took a leave from teaching to handle this. I explored more of the inheritance. Grandpa's investment portfolio was genius, stocks in tech companies booming now. I met with financial advisors, learning basics like diversification and taxes. It was overwhelming at first, but exciting. "Start small," one advisor said. So I invested in education funds, aligning with my passion. Community support grew. A local news story picked up on the inheritance battle, portraying me as the underdog. People commented online, "Good for her standing up." It boosted my spirits. Even started a small blog sharing grandparents' wisdom, like kindness compounds like interest. But tension peaked when family showed up unannounced again. This time, with movers. "We're taking what's ours," Dad yelled, pointing to furniture. I called the police. Officers arrived, checked papers, house was mine. Family left fuming, but it scared me. Installed cameras and hired a security guy named Mike, an ex-cop friend of Grandpa. Mike became a rock. "Your grandpa helped me once," he said. "I'll watch your back." We chatted about life, and he shared stories of family feuds he'd seen. Money tears folks apart, but you got heart. As the case dragged, I volunteered at a shelter, ironic, since I was almost homeless. Helping others grounded me. Met Sarah, a single mom evicted like me. Gave her anonymous help with rent. Felt good, like honoring grandparents. Then, breakthrough, judge dismissed most claims, saying will was valid. But they appealed. More delays. I used the time wisely, setting up a nonprofit for underprivileged kids. Named it Legacy of Love, after Grandma's favorite phrase. Donated $1 million to start, scholarships, supplies, mentoring. Friends rallied too. Old classmates organized a support dinner. "We're your family now," they said. Tears flowed, but happy ones. Amid this, I reflected on my parents. Why so bitter? Grandpa once hinted at old grudges. Dad felt overshadowed by his success. Maybe jealousy festered. Tried therapy to process it all. Counselor said, boundaries are key. Learn to let go of guilt. Finally, settlement talks. They wanted $5 million to drop it. I countered with nothing. Lawyer advised compromising to end it quick. Thought long, okay, $500,000 each to parents, but with no contact clause. They took it, grumbling. Signed papers, and poof, over. Relief washed over me. No more court. But scars remained. Parents tried calling once after, but I ignored. Focused forward. With the lawsuit behind me, I breathed easy for the first time in months. The house felt like home again, not a battleground. I redecorated a bit, added kid-friendly art from my classroom, planted Grandma's favorite flowers. Life was mine to shape now. First priority, the nonprofit. Legacy of Love took off. We partnered with schools, providing free tutoring and meals. Saw kids' faces light up, priceless. Donated another $1 million, hired staff. Even spoke at events. This is for my grandparents, who believed in giving back. Work-wise, I returned to teaching part-time. Loved it too much to quit. Colleagues cheered my return, missed you, millionaire. Joked about it now. But seriously, the money let me sponsor class trips, buy supplies. Felt fulfilling. Personally, I treated myself modestly. New car, reliable, not flashy. Traveled to that lake house, inviting friends for weekends. Bonfires, stories, real connections. Started dating too, a kind guy from the nonprofit world. Kept it slow, wary after family drama. But echoes lingered. Heard through grapevine parents blew their settlement quick, fancy cars, trips. Then complaints about being broke again. Shook my head. Their choice. Security stayed important. Mike became full-time, almost like family. Taught me self-defense basics. Just in case, he said. Investing grew advanced. Learned about index funds, real estate flips. Advisor helped diversify, some in green energy, supporting causes I cared about. Portfolio grew to 28 million, wow. But I stayed grounded, budgeting like before. Community involvement deepened. Joined town council, pushing for better parks and education. People respected me not for money, but actions. You're making a difference, Mayor said. Reflected often on betrayal. Wrote a book outline, Inheritance of the Heart. Shared lessons, family isn't blood, but who stands by you. Blog gained followers, inspiring others in similar spots. Holidays were tough first year. No family invites, but friends hosted. Toasted to grandparents, thanks for everything. Then, surprise, a cousin reached out. Sorry for the mess. Can we talk? Met cautiously. She admitted pressure from parents, regretted it. Forgave her, fresh start. Small win. Advanced planning, set up trusts for future kids, if any. Ensured money lasted generations, focused on philanthropy. One day, visited graves. I did it, I whispered. Felt their pride. But wait, the story's not done. Rumors swirled, family plotting again? Dad seen with shady lawyers. Mike investigated, minor stuff, but vigilant. Prepared for anything now. Built a network, lawyers, advisors, true friends. Not paranoid, just smart. Life bloomed. Started advanced courses in finance, nonprofit management. Empowered. As months turned to a year, I looked back amazed. From evicted teacher to empowered philanthropist, what a ride. The 26 million wasn't just cash, it was a test, revealing truths. Family? Distant now. Parents tried one last reach out via email, we miss you. Let's reconcile. But attached? A business proposal, needing funds. Deleted. No more toxicity. Instead, built my own family. Sarah from the shelter became a close friend, helped her start a business. Mike? Like an uncle, joining holidays. Nonprofit thrived. Expanded to 3 cities, helping thousands. Awards came, Young Philanthropist of the Year. Humbling. Speech, this is my grandparents' legacy, alive through acts of kindness. Investments soared. Dove into advanced strategies, venture capital in edtech startups. One app for kid learning exploded, returns massive. Net worth hit 35 million. But spent wisely, endowed scholarships, built playgrounds. Personal growth, therapy continued, healing old wounds. Traveled solo to Europe, reflecting. Journaled, money amplifies who you are. Be good. Dating blossomed. My guy, Alex, shared values, no gold digger vibes. Proposed at the lake house. Yes. Wedding small, meaningful. Honeymoon? Volunteering abroad. Advanced estate planning, wills ensuring funds go to causes, not greedy hands. Learned from experience. Then, the ultimate twist. Heard parents faced financial ruin, bad investments. Relatives begged me to help. Thought hard. Sent anonymous aid, paid off their house mortgage. Not for them, but to close the chapter peacefully. They never knew. Cousin and I grew close, she joined the nonprofit board. Redemption arc. Today, I'm 28, teaching, running legacy of love, married, planning kids. House bustles with laughter, friends, events. Lesson? Inheritance isn't dollars, it's values passed down. Grandparents gave me tools to build, not hoard. Money showed colors, some dark, but mine? Bright with purpose. If you're watching, think, what's your legacy? Share stories below. Like if inspired, subscribe for more. Thanks for joining my journey. Remember, stand firm, the right people will stand with you.